speakers, I care if you're long, okay? And I will call on this man. Capital punishment, Phil here. If you're too long, you just be short, but it can be a statement, ma'am.
First, kudos on putting yourself in that position and bringing it up.
Yes, absolutely.
Couldn't hear it back here.
Stand so we can all.
I'll repeat the question in Hebrew.
I just think, with regards to the filmmaking process, you have dual citizenship. Did you at ever one point state that you were of U.S. citizenship?
No.
Did she ever state that she was U.S. as well? It was all, I thought so. The Canadian gave you much more entree. They love Canadians.
With that said, was there at any time you feared for your life?
Anytime you feared for your life.
Yeah, the entire time. I mean, I was hanging out with people who have no scruples that kill young children, and they were kidnapping journalists there. So yeah, I was completely terrified.
Okay. Yes, sir. I'll go back there. Yeah.
I just want to say one thing. What I hear from everybody in this room is a lack of understanding of the Islam mind. And if you want to understand the Islam mind, read a book called The Religion of Muhammad. I don't know the man's name, but it was written by a Pakistani priest around 1912. And it will give you an insight on how these people think. And one of the things is, in your movie, the mother said, "My brain tells me this is good. My heart bleeds for it." And in her brain, that's logic. To us, logic is something completely different. But in her brain, in every Muslim's brain, that is logic. You become a martyr, you die, you become a martyr, and you go to a better place. It is as true to them as 2 + 2 is 4. There is no-
Okay. Did everybody hear the comment?
Yeah.
Okay, would you like to comment? Because I would like to comment, but, all right. Here's the problem, and I have taken national grief for positions that I have taken on Islamic fundamentalism and so on. I would ask you, and all of us, never to say every Muslim. It's self-defeating. There are Muslims who don't think this way, and we have to cultivate them and nurture them. No, you said the words every. You said right. So that's okay. I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying we need to choose our words very, very carefully to be effective. And we also, once you say every or the Islamic mind even, then the good guys, and there are some good guys, are doomed. Look, there are some. We don't want to lump everybody in there, and we get more credibility with an American audience when we don't. The dominant, here is in a nutshell my problem with contemporary Islamic world, is the silence that has greeted the slaughters. This is much more depressing than the slaughtering. Well, that's the upshot. And so it is indicative of something. And so that's very troubling. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah.
I feel like Hussam and the other children, when they get released from jail, they probably are going to want to blow themselves up even more and tell other children that life in Israeli prison wasn't that bad. We got fed well. We got to speak with people. We got to call our family. We didn't suffer. And it encourages more bombing. And isn't this maybe a problem with the Israeli?
It's a very interesting question. Did you all hear it?
No.
Okay. It is. She fears that Hussam will leave eventually and cultivate more young bombers. Insofar as just even telling them how well he was treated, got to call his parents regularly and his family. This, by the way, gives you an idea of the no-win situation Israel is in. If they mistreat them, we should bomb. If they treat them beautifully, we should bomb. Because if we're caught, nothing happens to us. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, what I found a bit troubling was that the kids were allowed to watch PATV in jail. So I was really disturbed.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah, they each have their own television in their cells, so. And there's no rehabilitation.
And because liberal thought is dominant in Israel too, that's why. That's the reason. That is one of the most illuminating little pieces of data. I'm laughing because those of you who heard me on the radio know I often say my choice is either to laugh or to cry, and I much prefer laughter. But it's worthy of crying over. I mean, that they show them that. I mean, why aren't they bringing in, you would think, people, Israeli Muslims who have different views, and there are.
They can listen to Dennis
Yes,
Prager.
that's right. Make them listen to that's real torture. Imagine that. Simultaneous translation of my show over and over. That's important. Yes. Hey, how are you?
Good, all right. Talk with you. My question is from a solution. I mean, if you have captured failed suicide bombers, I identify this pathology as pathological claustrophobia. Okay, I think that's what we're seeing here is pathological claustrophobia. And isn't an obvious solution that when you have a boy like this, to put him somewhere else other than the Middle East? Get him to Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the United States, India, Pakistan, just anywhere else just anywhere else on Earth where there isn't going to be just this content. Change the content.
Or kill them.
Then when his sentence is up, then what do? You just throw him back into the same community that tried to kill him.
Well, the sentence shouldn't be up. He shouldn't be allowed back. I mean, you can try to blow up people until there's peace or until you feel that he wouldn't
So
be
you
in
think that
danger.
Hussam deserves to be detained for the rest of his life?
Well,
He's a victim.
No, yes, you're right. No, that's, yes.
These kids are not criminals. They don't deserve to spend their formative years in jail.
kids are not criminals?
They're
Okay.
victims.
It's interesting.
They're children.
Okay, now I'll tell you my view. Okay, we got the point. They are murderers, but she's saying they're brainwashed murderers, which is, you're both right.
So was the Madison family?
All right, I'll tell you,
The Madison family was brainwashed also?
that's right, but they weren't 13. Okay, here is I'll tell you my view, which is, you see, here is where, allow me to now inject a word that is unfortunately put into into synagogue and church confines. I am guided, as it happens, oddly enough, I am guided by a religion. It's called Judaism. I don't believe that Dennis's conscience or heart is more brilliant than 3,000 years of Jewish wisdom. And so I ask in these questions, what does Judaism teach me about culpability? And the answer in Judaism for thousands of years has been 13. That at the age of 13, you are responsible for your behavior. That's what bar mitzvah means. If we don't believe that, we shouldn't have bar mitzvahs at 13. We should defer them to 18. Or, given the state of our colleges, perpetuating adolescence, 22. That all Jews who go to college should be bar mitzvah at 22 when they leave. Only then can they begin to be morally aware. But and I know
He
this.
also married off young girls at age 13. So we're gonna
Yes,
apply that
no, but that
age.
was against their will.
Was it?
Yes, I understand. In the final analysis, the imprisonment of this boy is the fault of Palestinian society, not the Israelis who jailed him. That is what I would have to say. Just as I would have to say that the Japanese men, women, and children who died at Hiroshima were killed by the Hirohito and Tojo regime, not by an American bomb. They were killed by an American bomb physically, but morally they were killed by their own horrific Nazi-like government. These are horrible questions, but they have to be dealt with. And anyway, that's the way I went. The gentleman over there, yes? You will raise your hand, and yes, yeah.
I wanted to ask if you had any chance to speak with the families with the victims, with families of those who died by these innocent or manipulated or young kids.
Well, I've spoken to families